Hello everybody and welcome back to the Logan Blackman Show YouTube channel. We are here to bring you episode number 5 of the United States Gold Cup preview and their run in the 2023 Gold Cup. And for a little bit last night, I was not sure we were going to be here today. And if we were going to be here, well, it was going to be a what the hell happened type video rather than a preview for the United States' next opponent. But goodness gracious, the United States, all in all, came out with a victory in penalties. I guess, is it technically a 3-2 game? So they went to extra time, finished it out 2-2, and then, went on penalties. And conveniently won on penalties 3-2. So I guess that's how we're going to score it here. So the United States, 3-2 victors, and this has been a good couple weeks for the United States against Canada. So they obviously beat them in the Nations League Cup final, and then they beat them in the quarterfinals here. In this game, the United States dominated damn near every single facet of the game. You look at crosses, or definitely crosses. They had like 42 crosses this game. You look at possession, you look at shots, you look at literally everything. They had 13 corners in this game. Like every single number was to benefit the United States, but I don't think you could sit there really and go, huh, I'm really comfortable with how this game's going. It was a very nervy game. And much like the United States did in the last Gold Cup, they kept this shit late. They kept it very, very late. Now, defensively was very scary. And Canada very much had a toothless attack. I guess you could say with Cavallini and Junior Hoilett not really having a lot going for them up top. The only thing I can really remember either one of them doing was Lucas Cavallini giving a studs-up tackle to James Sands. But the only real chance Canada had, weirdly, came through Brian Reynolds. Like Brian Reynolds, I thought he scored for Canada. He already has a goal in this tournament. Remember, he had that absolute screamer against St. Kitts and Nevis. This game, he tried to clear it over the bar, which he did, but it almost went catastrophic. Like Matt Turner was there and it was kind of just throw your arms in the air, hoping that he could make contact with it. And you saw Brian Reynolds right after, he just stuck his hands like this. No. Like it was a nervy moment. Very nervy moment. As for the backline in general, you could just say it was very not very comfortable times. Like we talk about Brian Reynolds' near own goal. Jalen Neal passes back were not great either. Jalen Neal just looked really uncomfortable. Now I could have this wrong, but I think Jalen Neal's the youngest United States center back to start a knockout stage. Maybe the youngest player in United States history to start a knockout stage. And sometimes that youthful vigor is nice, but in this game he did look a little nervy. He got subbed off for Matt Miazga in this game. Now, that could have been because he was nervy, which makes sense. It also could be because he was the only player that was really in threat of being suspended for the next game. He's the only player on a yellow card in this game. Like Canada, Lucas Cavallini, we brought up the tackle he had on James Sands. He would have been suspended if Canada ended up qualifying for this next round. If they ended up beating the United States, which, again, they didn't. But that was the only real player they had in that situation. And that's the other center, his center back partner, Miles Robinson. 2 handballs in the box. Granted, only one of them got called for a penalty. Thank you to the fact Gianluca Busio got pushed in the back on the first one. Like, they were just 2 unfortunate situations. And he got, again, bailed out by the first one. But the second one was like, okay, it's not great. Like, Brandon Vasquez just scored, keeping it late again. A beautiful, absolute peach of a ball from DeJuan Jones. Again, right-footed left back, crosses in with his left foot, and just puts it on a freaking dime to Brandon Vasquez in front of his home crowd in Cincinnati. You're like, okay, finally, the United States finally broke through. Again, they had like 21 or 25 shots in this game. Like, they had an insane number of shots. So it was like, about damn time, and Brandon Vasquez finally gets it in the back of the net for his 3rd goal of the tournament. But, yeah, the United States is completely shut off. They completely shut off. That's not what you want to have happen. Canada went straight down the field right after Brandon Vasquez scored, and then they get the penalty, and you have Junior Hoilett and Lucas Cavallini off the field. Both got subbed off, so it's kind of intriguing to see who's going to take the penalty. Vittora stepped up, slammed it right down the middle. Right down the freaking middle. And that's one of those things where, as a goalie, it's kind of a lose-lose situation here. Because, well, for both people, I guess. If you kick it down the middle and the goalie stands still, you're an idiot. If the goalie dives, you're freaking ballsy, and everybody loves it. For the goalie, if you don't dive and he kicks it to the side, why didn't you dive? Well, obviously it was a good kick it down the middle. But it's a game of cat and mouse, and we'll go over to what happened later in the game. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll talk about Matt Turner there in a little bit. But, yeah, going to extra time, a little nervy stuff there. Canada now has the momentum. going to extra time. And Canada strikes first. Like, we brought up Jalen Neal getting subbed off for Matt Miazga, and then Aaron Long comes in for Miles Robinson at the end of regulation, because Miles Robinson apparently was only clear for 90 minutes. So we had everybody's favorite center back partnership back. It was the first time we'd seen this partnership since the first game. We have Aaron Long and Matt Miazga back together. And ironically, they bring in the slowest center back partnership they have. Canada brings in all their fast people. On the goal, freaking Matt Miazga just got schooled. Absolutely got schooled. He got his calf to the ball, which completely redeflected the shot. Freaking knuckleball shot. And was like, oh, there's just nothing. There's nothing Matt Turner's going to do about it. There's nothing that he's going to do about it. And it just slots right past him. So 2-1 Canada. And then things get a little bit more nervy. It's like, whew, okay, you got about, I don't remember the exact time it was scored, but like 6 or 7 or 8 minutes left, not including added time and all that stuff. But it's nervy. It's nervy. All your attacks for the United States up to this point in the game, sure, you had a high volume of them, but nothing was ever clicking. So it was like, what? Are they going to get this goal? Are they going to get this goal? And then you get one. Matt Turner comes up for the corner, or not comes all the way up, but he goes to the halfway circle, gets the ball at the halfway line, plays it over top, cross goes in, deflects a few places, and it's an own goal. Gianluca Busio takes a shot, deflects off Dane St. Clair, deflects off Kennedy for Canada, and goes right into the net. Freaking saved. Canada just wanted to land a helping hand. They just wanted to land a helping hand to the United States. And yeah, going to penalties, when you have a goalie like Matt Turner, and I respect Matt Turner so much for coming to this tournament. He has faced 29 penalties in his career. He saved 14 of them. Saved 14. That is an insane clip. That is absolutely ridiculous. He is the first goalie for the United States in 21 years to save back-to-back penalties in a shootout. I think it was Casey Keller the last time that happened. Matt Turner is a godsend. You have your A-team goalie playing with, depending on how nice you want to be about this United States team that we brought to the Gold Cup, your A-team goalie's playing with your C-team. Essentially, you are playing with a backline. You got your 18 goalie playing with a backline that has never played together. This is the first time this backline played together in a full 90 minutes, or like for most of the game. Because remember in the last game against Trinidad and Tobago, Miles Robinson was subbed off at halftime. So this is the first time we got extended playing time between the back four of Brian Reynolds, Miles Robinson, Jalen Neal, and DeJuan Jones. And it was shaky. It was very shaky. That youthfulness is nice at times, but it showed in the wrong areas at times as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how the United States, if they change anything, or they just want to keep with it. Because the problem is, Jalen Neal and Miles Robinson, for how shaky they were in this game, at their lowest, are better than Matt Miazga and Aaron Long. Like, that's just a fact. I'm tired of seeing Matt Miazga and Aaron Long. We know what they are. We've seen it. We've seen it a lot. I'm ready to go with this one. I'm ready to see it out, and we're going to take the bumps as we can go. We'll get to the starting lineup there in a little bit, but the back line was a little shaky, but it doesn't matter because they won. They won. Brandon Vasquez stepped up to take a penalty. Again, home crowd guy, skied his penalty over the bar. Matt Turner makes the save. Vitora steps up to take his penalty, goes right down the middle. Again, we talk about the game of cat and mouse. There's no way he's going to kick it right down the middle again. Is he going to kick it right down the middle? He is going to kick it right down the middle. Matt Turner put a firm right fist out. It was kind of a firm right hand. He didn't really clinch his fist, but he was going to his left and then stuck his arm out and hit it with his right. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful stuff. And then you had another penalty save. You had, who took the second penalty for the United States? Because Gianluca Busio took the third one. Jesus Ferreira took the fourth one. Cade Cowell took the second one. But fun game. I think the most fun part of that game, and I say fun game, fun last like 80th minute on. It was not very fun early on. We had a mess at the beginning of the game. The freaking line judge got pelted in the face, so we had to deal with that. So you got like 10 minutes added on. They were playing like the 60th minute at the end of the first half. Like, it was such a long first half. But yeah, and long first half literally, and because it was just painful to watch. Most of that first half was just painful to watch. Second half, same thing until Brandon Vasquez scored. And once the subs started coming on, that's kind of been a common occurrence for the United States in these tough games so far, where unwatchable. The game against Jamaica, unwatchable. Then once the subs started getting introduced, you saw a change in the team. You saw a boost of energy in the team. And we'll see how they juggle that going into this tournament, because on the wings, for this game. They made some changes. We saw Christian Roldan start in the game against Trinidad and Tobago. We said that wasn't going to happen this game. We were fairly confident. It was just a matter of if Jordan Morris was healthy enough, which he did end up playing. But in this game, like I said this before the tournament started, I halfway forgot Julian Gressel was on the team. And then lo and behold, he's starting in the quarterfinal game against Jamaica, or against Panama. I didn't see that coming miles away. There was no way I could have predicted. I don't think anybody out there actually thought we would see Julian Gressel for extended periods of time in this tournament. And then Alejandro Zendejas got pushed to the left because Julian Gressel, we talked about before the tournament, he only really plays on that right side. Alejandro Zendejas being a left-footed right winger, they wanted to try something new. So they had the right winger, right-footed. They had the left winger, left-footed to get crossed in the box. And Zendejas' time in the starting lineup, I think, might be done. I think it might be done. I'm not seeing it in this tournament. I understand he is talented. I said I've given the benefit. I think they're going to give him the benefit of the doubt for the most part, but man, it's just not clicking. It's not clicking. And as for Julian Gressel, he played a long time. He played like 91 minutes or something. Played a lot longer than I thought he would. Like, Alejandro Zendejas got subbed off early. He was the first sub of the game for the United States. And Julian Gressel played pretty much the entire freaking game, apart from extra time, of course. I thought he did all right. Like, there's nothing you could really write home about it. But it was weird seeing how him and Brian Reynolds would work on that right side, because it didn't work. It was very odd to see how those two worked around it. It was very odd. We reverted back, and I understand it's against a better team. Canada is much better than Trinidad and Tobago and St. Kitts and Nevis. I know that. But to go from the performances we had to this, like, it was like we were watching two completely different teams. The teams that are bad, obviously, you're going to have better performances. You would hope you have better performances. But you would expect to see some semblances of said performances in the next game. You won back-to-back games 12-0. You looked like you didn't even score a goal this entire tournament in this game against Jamaica. I did it again. In this game against Panama, it looked like you never scored a goal in your life until Brandon Vasquez came on. And then you got lucky with the own goal. But man, they got lucky. They got lucky to come away with the win here. They got saved by their A-team goalie, and I'm hoping to see a more fluid team in this one. That's the best way I can put it, because Panama, they're coming on. They're coming in hot. I understand Qatar, Gold Cup regulars Qatar, Concacaf regular Qatar. They're not the greatest team in the world, but Panama, if you want to use FIFA World Rankings, that's on you. I'm not a big fan of the FIFA World Rankings, but Panama are one spot above Qatar in the FIFA World Rankings. They blasted them 4-0. And you had goals from Barcenas, who scored the first goal of the game, and then Ismael Diaz, 3 goals, hat-trick. And it was like we were watching the freaking game against St. Kitts and Nevis again, because remember we talked about the United States in that game. They scored their goals like bam, 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 bam. They had 4 goals in like 5 minutes. Ismael Diaz had his hat-trick within like a 10-minute stretch, and they were easy goals. The last one was pretty impressive, but the other 2 were just passing in the back of the net. He could have had another one. But he scuffed that one. Panama, I've said this a lot this tournament for some teams, but they could have scored more. They probably could have scored more in this game. That's insanely impressive. But going into this game, or going into this tournament, they weren't really coming in on the best run of form. They won 2 games out of 6. They lost 3 of them. Drew 1 of them. Like, they were not really coming in this tournament like, oh, we're coming in, we're expecting to win. Now, this is their 5th time in the Gold Cup semifinals. Very experienced in regards to caps. You've got 3 players that have over 80 caps. You have a few other players that are close to 80 caps. Alberto Quintero and Anibal Godoy both have over 120 caps. Godoy has 126. Quintero has like 132 or something like that. Yeah, it's just a vastly experienced squad. Like Barcenas, the goal scorer in the game. One of the goal scorers in the game, 77 caps. Diaz has a lot less caps, I should say. Cummings has like 86 caps, like that, a center back for them. Eric Davis at left back has like 79 caps. Fidel Escobar has 70 caps. Like, this is a very experienced team, and they have a firm grasp of what they want to do. They love to cross the ball. Barcenas on the right side, Davis on the left side. They love to send balls in the box. Davis is a very creative left back, or left wing back, I should say. They've been playing like a 3-4-3 or a 5-2-3, however you want to look at it. They're playing a very firm midfield too. Godoy being one of them, and Carrasquela being the other one. And if you look at the cap specific things, the age difference, like, they are completely way different in regards to their experience in the national team. But Panama, they're going to be coming in expecting to win. You see a United States performance that was not great. That was not a great performance. And I'm sure that they go, okay, Canada is a better team than Qatar. At least one would suspect or hope Canada is a better team than Qatar. You couldn't tell at the World Cup. They were probably the two worst nations at the 2022 World Cup. But Panama beat Qatar with ease. They've dominated a lot of the statistical categories throughout this tournament, especially possession. Like, they have had a very solid tournament. They have a very firm game plan. And we'll see how that affects the United States. We'll see how the United States is able to adjust to said game plan because Canada played very narrow. And that kind of screwed up the rhythm of what the United States was trying to do. Panama could definitely exploit that. Davis and Barcenas, they could definitely exploit that. Diaz is coming in off a freaking hat trick. And you've got a lot less time to prepare for this game than you did against Canada. You had a whole week to prepare against the game against Canada. And it looked like you hadn't been together for like 2 days. Like, it looked so disjointed early on. Subs came on and made a difference. So we'll see if Panama, or if they're able to handle Panama in this game. Because Panama, I feel like they'd make them pay. I think Panama make them pay. I think on the paper, a lot of people out there are expecting the United States to breeze through this game. A lot of people, I would assume, expect the United States to breeze through. I don't think that's the case. I don't really think that's the case. I think it's going to be another tough game. Now, in an ideal world for Concacaf, the United States and Mexico will meet together in the final. Because Mexico, they're coming off a win. Jamaica is going to be playing them. I would love to see Jamaica beat Mexico. I would love to see a rematch of Jamaica versus the United States just to kick Mexico out because that'd be such a fun summer. It'd be such a fun summer. You have Jamaica beating Mexico. You have the United States beating Canada. So you have you have the United States two biggest rivals both getting beaten in the Nations League by the United States and then exiting the Gold Cup way earlier than what they were originally expecting. Canada was not expecting to play the United States this early. They were expecting to win the freaking group. They were a host team. Like, I've seen a lot of Canadian fans on Twitter be complaining about this, of the United States being a home team. Canada drew with Guadalupe in their first game and gave up an insanely late goal and drew 2-2, which ultimately helped them lose the group. So, hey, you can't win them all. You can't win them all. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's not a big deal that the United States is hosting this tournament every single year, but it is funny that Canada was technically one of the hosts going into this tournament, but now they're going to San Diego, traveling all across the freaking country. So it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a very, very fun game. For the starting lineup for the United States, the problem with this is that I don't really know where they make the changes. I think there's changes that need to be made, but I don't know where they make them. And I'm trying to think of this as what BJ Callahan would do or what Greg Berhalter would do, rather than what Logan Blackman, host of the Logan Blackman Show, would do. So we'll start off in net. First off, I think they'll keep a 4-3-3 formation. I don't think they'll stray away from that yet. It's worked well so far this tournament. Sure, they didn't look great against Canada, but they got the win. So that's going to be the main thing they focus on there. They've won 2 games, 6-0. Combined 12-0 with a 4-3-3 formation, so I think they're just going to try and keep that the same thing. Matt Turner net, pretty simple. Not a lot to explain there. Brian Reynolds at right back, I would just say he keeps his spot. I don't think he had the greatest game, but again, nobody in the back line really had their greatest game, but I think he's the best right back they have. DeJuan Jones at left back, will just keep him there. He's been by far the best. You can look at John Tolkien in that first game, and you see what DeJuan Jones in back-to-back games, he's gotten an assist. Back-to-back game. In this game against Panama, great assist. We talked about before. Great assist from DeJuan Jones. So I expect him to keep his spot. As far as center back partnerships go, I wouldn't be shocked if Matt Miazga was a starter in this game. I don't know for who, but with Panama being a cross-heavy team, I wouldn't be surprised they went a little bit more physicality in there. But I'm just expecting them to keep Jalen Neal and Miles Robinson as a center back partnership. Neither one of them covered themselves in glory in this game, but Jalen Neal, for the most part, this tournament has been the best center back the United States has had. So I'll expect him to keep his spot. And Miles Robinson, going into the tournament, most people expected him to be the best center back for the United States. And now he's obviously coming off some injuries, trying to get back to full speed. But I expect him to keep his spot there as well. As for the midfield, keep the same thing. James Sands is a holding midfield spot. Busio at one side. And then you got Jordi Mihailovic on the other side. Just keep it. Like, at the end of the game against Canada, we saw Jesus Ferreira drop in the midfield. And he went completely anonymous. I forgot Jesus Ferreira was in the game. He did take some nice corners towards the end of the game, but for the most part, I kind of forgot Jesus Ferreira was in the game. So I don't think they would go all the way back to start him in midfield. I think Busio would keep his spot. Scoring a penalty in this game, I think had a pretty decent game. Jordi Mihailovic just had a pretty empty game, I guess you would say, but I would just keep that same midfield three. I wouldn't really mess with it. Maybe we see Ferreira drop into midfield. Maybe we see them switch to a 4-2-3-1 with Busio and Sands as 6s and Ferreira running around as a 10. Don't drop him so far back. Keep him in that number 10 spot. But that being said, I am going to move Ferreira position. I'm going to switch him over to the right. And I think this is key with how the United States is going to want to play, because you see how Brian Reynolds, the best games Brian Reynolds has had, again, against weaker competition, with Zendejas on the right. Zendejas loves to cut in. Ferreira, I would imagine, just wants to stay inside, or will cut inside. So that'll give room for Brian Reynolds to sprint down that right-hand side. That will give up space. Ferreira will drop a little bit deeper behind Vasquez, who I've got starting at striker, and he will drop a little bit deeper, which will allow Reynolds to overlap him. That's what I'm expecting anyways. And for Vasquez, I would imagine that he deserves a start. He scored 3 goals this tournament. All have come super late. He's been useful as an impact sub. Do I think he'll start? I'm not 100% sure, but the wingers have been the biggest issue, I would say, for the United States this tournament. We have not been able to nail down who should be the starting wingers, and that's either side. It's not like we know who the right winger is going to be, or we know who the left winger is, or we know who it is, but they're not really earning their keep. I guess you could say Alejandro Zendejas, I don't know if you could really say, has covered himself in any glory this tournament. He was expected to be one of the bright spots of this United States team that was relatively received with negative comments for the most part when this squad got announced. It's like, okay, Alejandro Zendejas, one of the more exciting players, but he hasn't done anything. So I'm going to pull back on Zendejas. I'm going to bench him. And on that left wing spot, this is where it gets interesting. I don't know if I'm going to name an exact starter here. I don't know if I can. I don't feel comfortable naming an exact starter. My gut is telling me that it'll be Christian Roldan. That's what my gut's telling me. Do I think Cade Cowell should start? I think Cade Cowell, I said this in the last video, I think Cade Cowell is the most talented winger on that left-hand side anyways that they have. But they brought this up in the game against St. Kitts and Nevis, or against Trinidad and Tobago. Cade Cowell is going to be probably used as super sub the rest of this tournament. In the games against Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and Canada, he has looked really solid. I'm not going to say like great. He didn't play amazing in this last game, but he looked solid. He looked more solid than Alejandro Zendejas in this game did. I would say that. And he's always trying to go forward. He's always trying to try something going into this game. And that game against St. Kitts and Nevis where he started, he just looked lost. For the most part, he was trying things and just nothing was working, but he's adding a spark in off the bench. So I would imagine he just keeps doing that. I think I would love to see him to start. I would love to see him start, but I don't think that will happen. I don't know if Zendejas would start. I wouldn't be surprised if Zendejas started. Julian Gressel for set pieces. If you're bringing in somebody like Brandon Vasquez, I wouldn't be shocked if Julian Gressel kept his spot. So that would make the starting lineup a little bit more interesting. Who would be benched for Julian Gressel? Because he doesn't play on the left. He plays on the right, like religiously, just plays on the right. Would you move Jesus Ferreira over to the right or to the left side? Would you drop Ferreira into midfield? Would you play Jordi Mihailovic on the left? Would you play Roldan or Morris or Cowell? Would you start them on the left? Like, it's just opening up a lot of weird situations. That wing spot, either side, I can't comfortably nail down anything. But I want to see Brandon Vasquez start. We predicted it twice. Or no, did we predict it twice? I predicted it once. But, yeah, I think just once to this point. I would love to see it. I don't know if it will happen. We're going to go with Roldan on the left, I guess. But that's my starting lineup again, 4-3-3. We're going to go Matt Turner net, Brian Reynolds, and DeJuan Jones at right and left back. Center back partnership of Miles Robinson and DeJuan Jones. Midfield 3 of James Sands, Gianluca Busio, and Jordi Mihailovic. On the right wing, we're going to have Jesus Ferreira. Striker, we got Brandon Vasquez. And then on the left, got Christian Roldan. I would love to see Cade Cowell there. I think Cade Cowell is better than Christian Roldan. I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan Morris got a spot. We predicted Jordan Morris to start the past 2 games, and he hasn't. So it only makes sense that he's going to start this game, right? That makes the most sense. So that's what I've got for you today. I'm going to say the United States, I'm going to be boring. The United States comes out, I'm going to say the same score again, 2-1. I say the United States comes out 2-1 victor. I think they score early, and then they score late. I think those are 2. I don't think they go to extra time like they did against Canada. I think they're going to try and hopefully rectify some things going into this game. But we'll have to see. Panama will be tough. Vastly more experienced team than the United States. Yeah, 2-1 victors for the United States. Hopefully that comes true. If not, I'll be kind of, disappointed. I mean, Panama's knocked the United States out of the Gold Cup before in 2015. The third place game, the United States finished 4th, which was not ideal. Not an ideal situation. Yeah, hopefully it all works out for the United States. Tough game, but beat Canada. Let's go Jamaica. Let's beat Mexico. Let's see United States and Jamaica in the final. I've been Logan Blackman. I hope you enjoyed. If you did not, I sincerely apologize. We'll try to be better next time. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description as well. And I will see you all later. Peace.